Welcome back, guys. Here for the I Love Wrestling podcast. I'm your host, as always, Justin Woolwine, and today we are welcomed by the uncrowned Triple Crown TNA International Champion, Trey Miguel. How we doing, man?
I'm doing good. Dude, am I not a Triple Crown? Do you have to be a heavyweight champion to deem yourself that? Because like, I
You
didn't
know,
know that. The internet had me up in handcuffs when I put out a post saying Triple Crown Trey. And there's just a handful. I'm like, you're not a Triple Crown. You didn't hold the world belt. And I'm like, I held three belts. What does that mean? So I guess I'm wrong. I stand corrected.
I think it's hilarious because I think it should count. I was watching some of your interviews before I got on here just to, catch a vibe, see what things are like. And I saw you said that in an interview, and I was like, what a way to start. Let's see what he thinks. Let's start there. You've obviously we're gonna say Triple Crown. You've won the X Division, the tag team, and now the International Championship. I'd have to imagine the world title is somewhere on the mind. Um, is that next? Maybe
I,
as international champion or even after the international championship reign? Is that something that is on the mind of Trey Miguel?
so I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think I've never really pictured myself as the world heavyweight champion until the last TV we did in Atlanta. So I won the belt and I was walking down the hallway and Santino comes up to me. Santino's been really supportive on my fitness journey. He's always super complimentary of the weight I'm putting on, the size I've been gaining, and he was like, "Oh, there's Traps Miguel," and he asked me, he goes, "What are you weighing now?" And I said, 176. He said, "Is that the most you've ever weighed?" And I said, "Well, actually, last week I weighed in at 180, but it was a lot of water weight, and I haven't seen it again since." And he asked me, "What's your goal?" And I said, maybe like 184, which was such an odd number. He goes, Why 184? That is such an odd number." And I said, "I don't know. That's just what the number, like, that's what I saw in my head." And he goes, "Well, why not 205?" And I was just like, I don't know. He goes, "No, seriously, why not 205? Why not become a world champion?" And that's the first time anyone's ever, like, made that light bulb go off in my head. And I was just like, shit, like, if I keep working hard enough, why not be a world champion one day? So ever since Atlanta, that's kind of been in my head, like, maybe I can do that one day. So we'll see. I still have this for now. I'm still the international champion. I have to give that the respect it deserves. But maybe one day down the line, I'll be able to be a world champion. It doesn't
That's
seem impossible anymore.
I like that. I like the mind switch. Sometimes it takes other people to make us realize that maybe we're setting our goals a little too low, if that makes
Sure,
sense.
no, totally agree with that.
Um, let's dive into international championship, but I guess to do that, we got to talk about Feast or Fired.
Yeah.
How did it feel for you to come back and TNA to present this opportunity for you to come back and return in Feast or Fired and to make that immediate, pun intended, impact for TNA?
It was a fun thing. It was a fun way to come back. I had
Hmm.
never been in a feast or fired match, and in some respect, it's pretty similar to the Ultimate X match. We use the same trust system. The only thing that we're not doing is putting the ropes that cross the ring with a single prize in there. And I like the idea of it sort of being a lottery, right? And
Yeah.
Matt Hardy made the Twitter joke like, TNA has the opportunity to do the funniest thing in the world with Trey Miguel. And leading up to that, I didn't think that was funny until Matt said it, and everyone else was like, "That would be hilarious." I was like, "Damn, that would kind of be really funny." But like, what would we do after that?
Yeah.
Like, I can do, how many different places can I jump around to and get fired from? So uh, I had a lot of people support with coming back, and a lot of people were happy for me, and that helped make what I did that day feel special. It was a really special day to me, and that's a special match to me.
With the return itself, it's very cool to see how things turned out. I know before you made your return, it seemed like maybe your wrestling future was uncertain. What ultimately changed your mind?
Talking to TNA,
Okay.
it was one of those things where I had some difficult decisions to make.
Yeah.
I'll be the first to tell you, man. Like, I texted a friend at home, like, "Hey, bud, what can I just apply to work at AT&T with you and sell cell phones?" And he sent me all the paperwork for it, like the application. I looked at it and I was just like, God knows I don't want to do this. I've worked so hard to be a professional wrestler. I've given it 16 years of my life. Like I don't want to start over at 31 years old. And then I had a conversation with Tommy Dreamer, and Tommy was just like, "We're gonna bring you back. We want you back, and we're gonna do something big this time." And that was contingent on if I decided to resign. And I had to talk with he had to talk with Carlos. Everyone told me where everyone's minds were, and I was just like, I would absolutely love to come back to TNA. TNA has always treated me like family. I look at them like family. That's where I will retire my career one day. Like I don't care where wrestling takes me. TNA gave me my start. That's where I'm gonna put a cap on it when this is all done. So it was really nice to know that they valued me in the very same way I value them.
Absolutely. You win Feast or Fired, which was an incredible match. We watched that live on we do live streams here on ILWPOD. We watched that live. It was actually the first time my little brother watched a Trey Miguel match, and he was very excited. And then we got to see yourself take on standout performer Adam Brooks. Uh,
Mhm.
what was it like going out there and for you two to go out there and kind of showcase both your styles? Your first singles match back, showcase him a little bit more, and for both of you to go out there and steal the show and maybe show guys, especially a new audience here on AMC, what you guys are capable of and what maybe Trey Miguel has in store for you now that he is officially singles.
Well, Adam Brooks is a great friend of mine. When I found out that that's who I'd be working with that day, I was very excited to do it. He's such a phenomenal performer, and
Yes.
we have wrestled a couple times. We did a singles match for PCW Ultra in Los Angeles, California, and a second time was in 2019. It was WrestleCon versus the World,
Mm.
and we wrestled Team Australia, the Rascals, and myself. And man, that was such a fun match. And we've always had such a good relationship with one another. And it was one of those things like, man, I want to put on such a good match with him that maybe TNA will sign him. And that's what I really tried to do that day. I know that selfishly I should be worried about elevating my own name and making myself look as absolutely good as possible. This is my first singles run in almost 3 years. This
Yeah.
is my comeback story. This is my official, kind of more official debut as a singles wrestler. And maybe I should have been more focused on that, but I'm always going to try to help the people that I care about. And Adam is one of them. We are super excited to get to do that work. And I was really happy with the way the match came out.
Perfect. For you've been a part of Impact Wrestling TNA now for several years. This was your first kind of showcase on the new platform on
Yeah.
AMC. Did you feel any of that pressure, or did you feel right at home?
Man, I think I felt right at home because of the excitement I had backing the decision for TNA to go to AMC before, the Rascals departed, and we found out we're not going to be a part of that debut. I was crushed. I really wanted to see TNA get those flowers. I had been there for the Pop TV days, the Twitch streams, Access TV for the amount of time we were on there. That was probably the longest network we held down in my tenure with TNA. Um, Man, the Pursuit channel, which was a hunting channel, which people really didn't access, and if they did have access to it, I don't think they like ever went to that channel and would think wrestling was going to air on it. It was a hunting
Yeah,
channel. It didn't fit. And after seeing every different avenue that TNA had tried taking in the seven, now eight upcoming years that I've been there, I really wanted to be a part of that. I really wanted to see, like, I grew up on TNA on Spike TV. That was accessible to
it's
everyone. Everyone loved Spike. It was easy for you to flip through your channels and see, oh, there's a six-sided wrestling ring television show right now. Like, what is this about? And that's exactly how I found it. Um, I want to be a part of that for the people that are channel flipping now. I know that I don't know what it's like to have cable anymore. Everything's a streaming platform on my television now, but I imagine myself being a fan of wrestling and channel flipping and being excited about that. I want to be a part of that wave, when new people get to see what we do, when AMC gets to see what TNA is all about. It's a great platform to be on. It's a great channel. That's where I watched The Walking Dead for the 1 million
Years.
seasons that I watched it on there. Um, and it was really cool because after making the debut at Feast or Fired, I got feedback from one of the top guys at AMC. They texted Vice President Eric Tompkins, was like, I'm so glad we have this guy. And that made me feel very good about being with TNA on AMC.
Perfect. A big part of TNA's last, year or so has been the WWE NXT TNA partnership. With that, we've seen Stax Lorenzo take the TNA International Championship, and you brought it home at No Surrender. You brought the title back over to TNA. What did it mean to be able to do so with Teddy Swims at your side?
Man, just getting the opportunity to be someone that's going to represent TNA, against WWE. It's a partnership, but in scenarios like what we saw at No Surrender, it's one versus the other.
Hmm.
And to be the guy that gets to bring a championship home from a WWE talent was something that's a feather in my cap. I'll always, keep dusted. That was incredible to me, and getting to do that with one of the most famous singer songwriters in the world, by my side was one of the coolest, not only moments of my career, but of my life. Teddy is a great friend of mine. He is someone I would have never dreamed having the relationship that I have with him. He was so excited to come to TNA. I shot him a text message the week before the Grammys, and he had a lot of stuff going on that week. So it was probably about a week later before I heard back from him, and it was kind of out of my head. I knew he was coming to the show, but I didn't know what he was on board for. If he just wanted to sit front row, or if this would, walking me to the ring would be something he was actually interested in. And man, out of nowhere, I think it was on like a Wednesday or Thursday, he goes, I'm so sorry, bro. I had Grammy stuff going on all week. I just been super busy. Yes, I would love to be there. I would love to do that. I'll hang out with all the boys after. We can throw like an after party. Like, I mean, just spam text message. I was like, I've never seen Teddy this excited, man. It was such a cool moment. And, having him in the ring with me after we won, Teddy had never seen me perform live before. And to do something like bring home the international championship against a WWE talent for the first time, one of my newest best friends, whose opinion I wanted to impress Teddy more than, probably anyone in the crowd. I was like, I want Teddy to love this. I really did. And to see the emotion that it brought out of me, which drew the emotion that it did out of him, was something I never expected. We got in the back and we're both crying and hugging, and the entire locker room was standing there to give me an applause for what we just did, and it truly felt like um, that was a huge turning point for my career and my headspace. It was a difficult 2 months, man.
Absolutely. It's got to be a breath of fresh air having those moments. And with that moment also came, it's now been two times in a row. You've beat Stacks. And after the match, Carlos Silva's put the TNA International Championship around your waist.
Yeah,
What's it like to get that kind of badge of honor or seal of approval from the president of
it,
TNA Wrestling?
that's such an incredible feeling. Carlos Silva, in my opinion, is a really good leader for TNA. I was brought on while Scott D'Amore was there. Scott D'Amore and I always had a great relationship, but that's not a moment I think I was ever going to experience with Scott. And in the time that he was there, I never did, unfortunately. I hope by saying that he doesn't see this and think like, oh, well, you think that of our relationship? It's just Scott was such a busy guy and he was invested in so many people, and it felt really good that Carlos took time out of his day to sit ringside 2 times in a row, understand what this comeback meant to me, and to share those moments with me. It was something that was really special. I really, really appreciate Carlos Silva for what we've started to build and what we're going to continue to build.
Definitely. One more question, Trey, and then I'm gonna let you go. But as TNA heads off into TNA Rebellion coming up April 11th, excuse me,
Yep.
y'all head to Syracuse, New York. You're also heading out, you know, I'm tripping up on my words, out to Cleveland.
Yep.
What can we expect from Trey Miguel on all these dates as he holds and takes that TNA International Championship along the road with him.
Rebellion's one of my favorite pay-per-views that we get to do of the year. It always brings this big fight feel to it. I feel like that's starting to be more of a reoccurrence with every pay-per-view, but Rebellion, since the days I had started, was always one that we put a little bit more build around. That will take place August 11th in Cleveland, which that's an hour and 40 minutes away from where I live. So I plan on having some family in the building. And when that's the case for me, I treat things like it's a little bit more special that day. So, and when I have that backing me, I'm willing to go a little bit extra harder for the day. Syracuse being a few days later, we're gonna all hop on a bus, go there together, and I love performing in New York. So the game plan won't change. I'm just excited to be the front runner of one of the champions, one of the pillars right now, and that comes with a certain responsibility, and it's a pressure that I like, and I always enjoy performing under it. So I think my best is yet to come.
Definitely. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for joining myself, Trey Miguel, the TNA International Championship here on the I Love Wrestling podcast. If you missed it, go get your tickets for Saturday, April 11th, Tuesday, April 14th and 15th. Don't miss Trey TNA Wrestling. Get your tickets on Ticketmaster.com and watch on AMC, AMC Plus in the US, and Sportsnet 360 in Canada, and TNA Plus worldwide. Thank you guys. We'll see you next time.